All right, everyone. A couple of days ago, Pewdiepie decided to give 50 grand to the ADL, and of course it was troubling, and if you didn't look into it any further, you'd be like, well, screw that. I said at the time, and I was in the tiny minority, I had so many people, content creators like major names, fans and subscribers, everybody was against me on this one. It seems. Like, was I the only one who said that this might be like 40 chess? I think there were a couple of other people. I think Caracal was one of the other people who said that it might be. Did Matt? I have to assume that Matt probably would have grasped onto that concept. Like Matt and Blonde. But by and large, most people assume that PewDiePie had been extorted or sold out. And what I said was I thought that he actually did better than I expected. What I expected is he says, well, I don't care about this 50 grand. I'm going to use one of the biggest videos I'll ever make to attack the ADL by saying, well, I'm going to give them money. People will Google them, realize they've attacked me, and they'll attack the ADL. It's not even a dog whistle at that point, it's just an organic response. I'm going to get everyone talking about me and the ADL, and they're going to go off and they're going to ream them. They're going to take the ADL down a peg and spread word about the fact that they're a defamatory group of slander shakedowners, like a Tech Al Sharpton brigade, which is what they are. The ADL is not an anti-hate group at this point. You can argue that maybe they were for a while. They're not now. The ADL is a pro-censorship group that is fighting on behalf of the same groups that give it money in the first place in order to slam independent content creators off the internet, including people like PewDiePie. PewDiePie's response, though, yesterday, proves in my mind that it was 40 chess. He would have me believe, assuming that I take his explanation, which is a deflection, seriously, he's unaware of who the ADL was and chose them because an advisor told him to without double checking. He had never heard the term ADL before. Not one neuron in his brain fired off sideways just a little bit at the mention of the ADL. He never knew anything about him. So you're telling me that a person who was subjected to nonstop defamation for months and months at a time by the legacy media, saying he was a bigot, he was a Nazi, he and YouTube were deeply troubled, and he was responsible for mass shootings and terrorist attacks. You're telling me that one of the groups most responsible for promulgating those mythologies, he was unaware of their existence and unaware of their actual goals. He actually thought, hey, this is an anti-hate group. I'm going to give them money because it was advised to me by some random person. I don't believe that for a second, dude. I don't believe PewDiePie's explanation. That's his deflection. I think this was all planned. His plan was to rankle people, get them riled up, get them talking, and then to deflect. And it's a marketing strategy. It also attacks one of his most major enemies, which is the ADL. The ADL hates content creators. It hates YouTubers. It hates people like me. It's because its corporate partners are tired of having to compete with people like me. For time usage. We compete for time usage, not just on YouTube, but as a total. A human being only has 24 hours in a day to give attention to things. They've got to sleep and eat, and they've got a job. They got to take a shit and a shower and shave. And well, most people shit, shower, and shave. Not in that order, but whatever order you want. It's your life. Be happy. Most people have a few hours a day to dedicate to imbibing entertainment, infotainment, straight up information, news and whatever. News in the corporate sense, not being informative at all. Their choice, by and large, has been morphing from TV, like 20, 30 years ago, and radio and stuff like that, newsprint, to the online world. The problem is, they're spending most of their time online for this material. A lot of them are paying attention to commentary by gamers. They're zoning out and they watch gaming commentary, or they join gaming communities or whatever. The gamer thing has been formulated into this with PewDiePie, definitely, because he's more of a streamer now, and gamer in some cases. For a while he was more memes and irony. Now it's more straight up streaming. So there's that side of things. And then political commentary, and a lot of it's alternative commentary. It's Paul Joseph Watson. It's Stéphane Molyneux. It's Mark Collette. It's progressive voice. And it's people on the Kyle Kulinski and shit. It's people like me. People with a webcam. People with a home studio. People don't have multi-million-dollar budgets. They're not syndicated and shit. They choose the topics that they want to talk about, and therefore it's more informative and it's more entertaining. They haven't been bought out by a corporation. The ADL doesn't like that. The ADL works with corporate groups that bankroll them 6- and 7-figure sums. And then it extorts, apparently, smaller creators. Maybe he did get extorted and he just said, you know what, the response isn't worth the 50K, fuck you. Maybe he just told them to fuck themselves. ADL representative said, hey, don't tell nobody this, but your channel's gone if you don't pay us off very visibly and say nice things about us. And so he said, okay, that's fine. And then he stabbed him in the back. Maybe so. If so, you took one for the team. Great dude. PewDiePie will be remembered forever. Yeah, I mean, he will be at this point. He doesn't have any problems with money or legacy at this point. He can do whatever the fuck he wants for the rest of his life. Nobody could do jack shit about it. His name and brand, even if he were banned from YouTube tomorrow, he'd be making $1 million the next year. You know that he would. He'd get a BitChute channel. He'd go on Minds. He could become the corporate antichrist. He could lash back out at all these people, and he'd actually have the ability to do that if he wanted to. I can grant that he probably does feel bad about people like they do extreme shit and harm other people in his name and stuff. I can imagine that would get rankling because he's not a bigot. He's not. There are people who are arguing, well, he's dog whistling to Nazis. Look at the collar of his shirt in this video he's making. It's got like a little iron cross. It turns out it's like actually the Templar cross. It's got like some Latin inscription on it. And it's like, okay, he's a Christian. What the fuck is your fucking problem, dude? Not every cross in the world has to do with Nazi Germany. The only reason to even believe that is if you've been primed by propaganda from BuzzFeed and the ADL to believe it. There's the irony. The ADL creates a wide-reaching defamation about a person, and then everyone else gets dumb. They get brain dead. The little pawns, the small, slimy, slug-like minds of the world will literally, even when confronted with the light of truth, they will wallow around in their own soil, in their own feces, and eat their own shit, bend over backwards, and suck themselves off to defend the propaganda they were lied to with in the first place. There are people there that are totally fucking mindless, spineless little cretins, and they actually believe the bullshit that's said about content creators. They don't even realize, like if they've been paying any attention at all, they would know these groups never had a problem with anything. There was no problem with bigotry or cyber hate or extremism or any of these things until around 2016. Oh, you mean around the time that the ratings flipped and independent commentary became bigger than corporate commentary and started leeching its money away? Wow, what a coincidence. Oh, you mean because the only adequate news about the 2016 election, buoying the independent commentators' subscriber counts in the process, came from alternative commentary of people with webcams? Wow. PewDiePie doesn't even do politics. All he said is, hey, I don't support censorship. By the way, here's a Pepe meme. Oh my god, what a bigot. What on earth are these people smoking? That's better than marijuana. They need to lay down the crack pipe or something. So I told you so. I told you that I didn't think that PewDiePie had sold out. I told you it was probably 40 chess. And even PewDiePie is never going to admit to the fact that it was a bait and switch tactic that was designed to gain attention on the issue of both ADL and corporate, legacy media censorship, and to boost his own numbers. He's not going to admit to that because then, of course, the approach doesn't work. He's got to be very deadpan about it and pretend like, oh, I just didn't know who the ADL was. I didn't. It's sort of like if I were to claim, like, I don't know who the Wall Street Journal is. Yeah, I was going to, write a piece for them, but my fans got angry and I decided not to. I was advised poorly on the issue. Oh, I thought it was a good idea and shit to go on the CNN panel and take a corporate sponsorship or something, but my fans said it was a bad idea, and then upon further research, I determined they were right. No, dude, I don't believe it. No, I don't think that somebody with that kind of money and that kind of fame and that kind of branding ability, honestly, is that dumb. No, I don't believe that at all. He plays, someone who's a little bit on the oafish side as a character. Like, PewDiePie is just his character, dude. He's probably not like that completely in real life. He's very good at branding. Oh my god. I have a deep admiration for his 4D chess skills. Didn't I make a video, not that long after the 2016 election where I predicted that he would increasingly do shit like this? I can't remember the title of it, but I'm pretty sure I literally predicted that. I predicted this the day before he broke the news to his skeptical crowd. It's very funny to see all the other content creators jump down his throat. Well, PewDiePie is over. He's sold out. I'm not going to name names, but virtually all of the major content creators that I pay attention to jumped down his throat, with a couple of notable exceptions. And they were more skeptical. They're saying, well, something seems off about this. Some people were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, saying, well, they've got dirt on him and they're extorting money out of him or something. And I'm like, well, maybe, it's possible, we'll wait and see, but I felt that it was a branding strategy. And it was. That's quite clearly. His explanation doesn't make sense. The idea that he's ignorant of who the ADL is. Come on, dude. Some people might be taken in by that. Trust me, I'm not one of them. That's about all. Peace out.